Alright, what's up everyone? Today I'm going to be making a little video about this camera right here. We have the Leica M4P. The reason I wanted to make a little video about this camera is because I've had it for a year now. So I feel like I've put enough film through it and had it for enough time to kind of give my initial thoughts on it. Maybe you're thinking about picking one up, or maybe you're just curious about the camera itself, but yeah, I just wanted to sit down and kind of share my thoughts and also share some of the photos that I made with it. So the camera that I had before this was the Contax G1, and it really was a good camera. I just feel like the autofocus would make me miss the moments that I was intending to photograph. The autofocus sometimes would just not work, and then the photo just wouldn't take, and I would end up missing the moment. So the main reason I wanted to upgrade to this camera was the manual focus, but the reason I got this one specifically is because the M4P was the first Leica, maybe not the first Leica, but the first, I guess the cheapest Leica that has 28mm frame lines. And from the Contax, I was pretty used to shooting with 28mm frame lines. So that was definitely a need for me in the camera upgrade. That's the reason why I got this one. But another reason that I got this one specifically was the hot shoe. Because I shoot a lot with flash, and I really like to have just a small flash. The flash that I use is the TLA 140 Contax flash, which I used on the Contax before I had this camera. Yeah, overall I feel like this camera has definitely been the one and done camera for me. I originally kept the Contax G1 and I was planning on keeping it when I bought this one. But after shooting with this for a couple months, I realized I'm just never going to need to shoot with the G1, so I ended up selling it. One of the main things that I find is a bit of an issue occasionally with this camera is that the button to remove the lens is right here on the front, which when you're shooting, it's kind of like right around where your finger sits. So I've noticed that occasionally when I'm shooting, I'll go to check the lens to make sure it's secured on there, and it'll be slightly off. So I wish that they had put something like what they put on the M6 on this camera, like a little shield around it to kind of make it a little bit more difficult to hit. Because once about a month ago, I don't know if you could see it on there, but my lens hood is dented, and that's because this button, I accidentally pressed it when I was out shooting, and the lens, it just fell right onto the concrete, and fortunately it landed on the lens hood. So the lens was fine, but it just got me paranoid. Like every time I pick up this camera, I'm a little bit worried that I'm gonna end up hitting that button right there. But yeah, other than that, this has been just the perfect camera. I mean, the 28mm frame lines and the hot shoe was the two main things that I wanted. And the lens that I have on it, it's the Voigtlander Ultron. For the most part, this is the lens that I was shooting with for the entire year that I had it. The film lab that I work at, they have a couple different Leica lenses that I was testing out. But for the most part, it was this Voigtlander Ultron 28mm. And yeah, I didn't do too much traveling this last year, but whenever I did, I brought this camera, and this is the only camera I felt like I wanted to use while I was out. It's just honestly the perfect little accessory to bring with you on a trip. Of the full year that I shot with this camera, there was only one roll that didn't fully catch in the side, so I thought I was shooting a whole roll, and when I went to wind it back, there was no resistance, so the film, it just wasn't shot, that whole roll. That only happened to me once, and I feel like I've heard more Leica shooters complain that their film isn't catching when they're shooting. But after that happened the first time, whenever I shoot the first two, I start to wind it back just to make sure that it doesn't wind back, to make sure that the film is caught. So after that happened, that didn't happen again. And there was also only one other time that I messed up a roll. That was when I was shooting with flash and the sync speed was off of the little lightning bolt. The little lightning bolt is the sync speed, and I think I had it at like 1/60th or 1/125th So the flash, it only showed up on half the photo. Those were the only 2 rules that I ended up messing up while I was shooting with this camera. So overall, it's been pretty consistent, and the 2 times that I did make mistakes, I learned from them and haven't made them again. So hopefully I won't make them again, but with film, you never really know. There's always risks when you're shooting film. But this camera is very consistent. The photos I get out of it, I know what they're gonna look like. And I just know in the moment when I'm using this camera, I'm gonna hit the shots that I wanna hit. But yeah, overall, I don't know how many rolls I put through this camera, but working at a lab, it was a little easier for me to shoot and not have to spend so much on developing, because I could just develop it at work. So I really put this thing through the test this last year. I brought it to the Arizona State Fair. I did a lot of walking around last year at the fair. I felt like this camera opened up like a whole new world of photography that I've always been interested in, but I've kind of strayed away from, mainly because it is a little intimidating taking photos of people in public. But with the Leica, it is very discreet. When you take a photo, you almost are not sure you took a photo. I mean, you know, but pretty much no one around you will know that you took a photo unless it's pretty quiet, just because of how quiet the camera is. But yeah, I feel like it opened up a whole new world of street photography that I always really wanted to get into. But it never really felt possible with the Contax, just because how loud that camera is when it takes a photo. I feel like it really disrupts the scene. But with this camera, I feel like you could shoot in very quiet environments and kind of not disrupt what's going on when the camera goes off. I took this camera out with my friends a lot. I always love taking photos of my friends, so I'll bring this camera whenever we go out or whenever we do something, and I feel like this has just been the perfect tool to kind of get the moments that I really want to when I'm out with my friends. And it's mainly with the flash, so I don't have to worry too much about the settings. But even during the day when I would take photos with my friends, I feel like just was able to capture moments with this camera that I don't know if I would have been able to with another camera. I also did a little bit of studio work with the Leica, and it is a great camera. I think mainly just because of how sharp the lenses are, the photos always end up turning out really good. But since it's a rangefinder and you're not seeing exactly what you're photographing, you're seeing like a little bit off to the side, it is a little more difficult in the studio to get the exact shot that you're looking for. So I wouldn't say it's the best studio camera by any means. One of my favorite types of photography to do is event photography. I really like to kind of be like a fly on the wall at events, and just kind of take pictures of what's going on around me. And I feel like the fashion shows, and specifically that I shot in the last year with this camera, the photos just came out incredible. I mean, the moments, there's just a feeling to the photos that come out of this camera that you can't get with other cameras. And yeah, the fashion shows, and specifically, I feel like I was really able to get the exact moments that I was looking to get, while also still like being discreet while I'm taking photos. I mean, like a lot of them with the flash, like people are gonna know I'm there. Like I have the flash and I'm taking a photo, like you're gonna see that I'm taking a photo of you. But just the camera being small and like the quietness of the camera, like I could take the photo with the flash and then just keep moving and kind of let everything play out how it was playing out. I feel like the events that I shot with this camera really were some of my favorite shoots that I did with the camera. So yeah, overall my thoughts are this is a great camera, and it was very much worth the extra money. If you're looking for a Leica on a budget but you still want the true Leica, I feel like this is the camera to go for. If you're not looking for 28mm frame lines, you could go for the M4-2. But this one specifically, I think you should go for if you are looking for 28mm frame lines. But other than that, yeah, I think I'm going to be holding on to this camera for quite a while. I'll probably be making a little bit more content on this channel. I find it's nice to just kind of sit down sometimes and talk, kind of share my thoughts on the equipment that I'm using, because I really do care about it and I want to share my thoughts. And I think there's probably some other people out here looking to upgrade to a camera like this. So sometimes it could be nice to just kind of hear from someone who has had it for a little bit. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to check out my work, you can find my Instagram at film.rn. I'll put it on the screen here for you. Other than that, just wanted to thank you guys for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, leave a like. Thanks. Peace.